How do you turn it off?
Loves a fire.
Hi, I'm Melissa Clark, and I'm here in the NYT Cooking Kitchen Studio to bring another episode of Shortcut versus Showstopper. I love this show because I get to do two versions of the same dessert. And today we are doing s'mores. A really simple one, a shortcut version that you can make easily, usually with pantry-friendly ingredients, and then the all-out, over-the-top, most fantastic, show-stopping version that you make when you want to impress company or just impress yourself. Both are great. They're just for different moods, different vibes, different times of life. I'm going to show you how to make s'mores in your oven. They're not just as good as being outdoors on a camping trip in the middle of the summer on vacation, but they're delicious. And it just all comes together in an irresistible, squishy, marshmallowy, delightful sandwich that you can make in 5 minutes flat. My little twist here is instead of just sticking to graham crackers, I'm offering some shortbreads, some ginger snaps. I mean, you can use any cookie. I mean, the fact is, like graham crackers, as far as cookies go, these are like crackers, really. I mean, I know that when I was like a young mom and my daughter was 2, I pretended they were cookies, but they're not cookies. They were invented to be health food. Did you know that? Now, shortbreads and ginger snaps, on the other hand, now these are cookies, so I prefer them. However, these are traditional for s'mores. Now, the chocolate. We're just gonna mix and match here. I mean, the thing that's nice about the Hershey's bar and the graham cracker is that it's so evenly matched. Just fits so perfectly. I'm gonna do a little pink salt on the shortbreads. So the trick is you just want the piece of chocolate to fit on the cookie nicely. Should we be wild and crazy and do almond and a touch of honey for the ginger snap? I like the idea of honey and ginger snap. Okay. Marshmallows. This is actually perfect to get your kids to do this. You just supervise the broiling, let them do the rest of it. They've got it. How long did that take? 30 seconds? And then we'll save these to finish it off to make the sandwich at the end. I'm gonna put these in under the broiler. I like to keep them maybe just an inch or 2 away. So I'm setting my oven rack to the second highest, not the highest rack. And you gotta watch them carefully. When you put them in, just don't walk away. Just keep an eye on them. They're gonna be done in between 1 and 3 minutes. They smell ready. Woo, okay, perfect. Oh my God. Haha. These are, they look like mushrooms, don't they? They're perfect. Now, the fun part. And this is where, if you have kids, you gather them around and give them cookies and let them go. Squish. So satisfying. So fun. Squish. You have to make sure they say squish when they do it. Right? I mean, come on. Can you imagine a sleepover party? Pizza and then oven s'mores. How fun is that? I mean, look at that. Chocolate is melty. The marshmallow is also melty. Am I gonna burn my mouth if I take a bite right now?
Yeah, you have to eat them with the Showstopper.
Oh, I have to eat them. Okay, so I won't do that. Oh wait, I'll have patience. Look how cool they are though. They look so good. Let's get our showstopper. I almost forgot about the showstopper. To make the Showstopper S'mores Tart, we're gonna start with a homemade graham cracker crust. So that doesn't mean taking graham crackers and mushing them up into crumbs. That means actually making a graham cracker, except the most delicious graham cracker because my recipe uses extra butter. And we're gonna use that as our tart shell. And then we're gonna make a chocolate ganache and a big fluffy marshmallow topping. Start with some cubed butter, and I'm gonna cream the butter with light brown sugar, regular sugar, and some honey. Just for a minute till it gets smooth and fluffy. Okay, and then I'm gonna add my dry ingredients. So I have my flour and then a little bit of whole wheat flour. And the whole wheat flour is what makes a graham cracker, which is also sometimes called graham flour, which is named after Sylvester Graham, who was the, let's just say the health nut who popularized graham crackers, or maybe even invented graham crackers. And now we're just gonna add the dry ingredients to our butter. Okay, overturn the dough onto the plastic wrap and squish it together until it becomes a nice uniform disc. If you didn't want to use this dough for a pie crust, you could just make your own homemade graham crackers. So if you wanted to do that, you would form your dough into a disc, just like I'm doing. You'd chill it, just like we're gonna do, and just roll it out into more of a rectangle, and then you would cut it into squares. That's it. I'm gonna put this in the fridge for about 2 hours, or you could leave it there for up to 3 days. It'll be fine. So you could use a little flour and do it on your surface, but I'm gonna just do it on this parchment paper, and then later I'm gonna use it to hold my pie weights. So perfect little ecosystem here. You know I love to do this. Something about wielding a heavy object, just all the stress goes right out. So you see that I keep turning it, and that just helps me keep it even as I roll. I like to do the plastic wrap on top, especially if you've already used it to wrap your dough, because then you can see it. If you have another piece of parchment on, you can't see it as well, so you don't know where their thick spots are. It makes it easy to transfer. It's a good method. So I am using just a standard 9-inch tart pan with a removable bottom. And the removable bottom is great because it makes it so much easier for serving. If you take the bottom out, you can just cut right through it. It makes it really nice. So this dough on this side is a little bit thinner. So I'm gonna steal some here and just build up the sides so that it's even all around. This is such a forgiving dough. It's like a big cookie, basically. So it's really easy to work with. Because there's so much butter in it, you don't have to worry about overworking it. It's not gonna be as delicate as a regular pie dough. So you just line it with parchment. And then I have my pie weights, so just beans. You could use rice. At home I use pennies, which are nice because they conduct heat. So I have a jar full of clean pennies that I washed and I use. So I'm gonna bake this at a low temperature relatively. It's gonna be 325 for 30 to 40 minutes. Because it's so buttery, I want it to bake very evenly and slowly, so it has a nice crunchy texture throughout. Okay, so what are we looking for? We're looking for the tart shell to be golden brown, dry, and baked through, which is exactly how it looks. It looks like a giant cookie, which is exactly what it is. And we're gonna let that cool, and while it cools, I'm gonna make the ganache, which is gonna go in the center. So I'm just gonna move it over here. Now I'm going to make the ganache filling, which is like just a melted chocolate bar, except better because it has cream and butter in it, which makes it velvety and truffle-like. There are many techniques for making ganache. This one I think is the easiest. So I'm gonna heat the cream, not too high, medium-low. I want it to just come up to a simmer. I don't want it to boil. I definitely don't want it to boil over, which has happened to me, but not today. And I'm gonna use all told 12 ounces of good bittersweet chocolate. So here's the thing about the chocolate for this. The marshmallow is really, really sweet, but to anchor it, to balance it out, we wanna use bitter chocolate as a contrast. And it's just gonna bring the whole dessert down to a slightly less sweet, but still really perfectly balanced level. So try to find chocolate that is between 66 and 76%. I'm gonna add my butter as well, and a nice big pinch of salt. And here we go, see how it's simmering? That's perfect. I'm just gonna pour this right on top. I'm gonna let this just sit for a minute, and the cream is going to melt the chocolate, and I'm just gonna stir it all together, and that is the ganache. It's so easy. And I'm gonna go get my tart crust, which is, just cooling right now. Say that you're doing this and your chocolate is not completely melted by the time the cream is all whisked in, but there's still some lumps. You just take your whole bowl, throw it in the microwave, hit it 10 seconds at a time, and whisk in between, and that'll take care of it. If you don't have a microwave, take your whole bowl, put it on top of a saucepan with some boiling water underneath, and treat it like a water bath. But yeah, look how beautiful this, look at this. It's so beautiful. It's so easy. I'm just going to put it right into this tart shell, and then we're gonna stick it back in the fridge so it can harden for at least an hour and up to 24 hours. You can do it the day before you wanna serve it. And then we will make the meringue, which is so fun. So what is marshmallow? I mean, what is marshmallow? It can be many things. It can be a sugary gelatin mixture, or it could be a billowing egg white sugary mixture. And we're going to do the egg white version, which is basically making a meringue. I'm going to use a type of meringue called a Swiss meringue, which means I'm going to dissolve sugar into my egg whites before I beat them, and that helps stabilize the egg whites so that when I torch them at the end, they hold their shape and they get nice and brown. So this water is just coming to a simmer, and I'm gonna separate my eggs. I'm gonna save the yolks to make ice cream. Yes, I am. You can make the caramel ice cream from one of my early Shortcut versus Showstopper episodes. Whenever I separate eggs, or even when I just crack eggs, I always crack it on a flat surface rather than on the edge of the bowl, because it's less likely to get little pieces of eggshell shard into your egg when you do it that way. So egg whites, 6 egg whites into my bowl. And then this is just granulated sugar and a little bit of cream of tartar. And this is basically your insurance. Cream of tartar keeps you from overbeating your eggs. So if you add just a little bit of cream of tartar to your egg whites, you don't have to worry as much about overbeating them. And if you overbeat your egg whites, then they get dry. And instead of being beautiful and fluffy, they get dry and clumpy. So this takes the anxiety out for you. So I have a vanilla bean. I love a vanilla bean. And I'm going to take the seeds out by slicing this vanilla bean in half lengthwise all the way to the end. And then I'm going to use the back of my knife, and I'm just scraping all of the seeds. And these seeds, I'm going to leave them right here, and then we'll use them later on, just getting it all ready. Then don't throw out the rest of the pod. So even after you've taken the seeds out of your vanilla pod, take your vanilla pod and put it in your sugar, and then you'll have vanilla scented sugar. It's great. Or if you want to make homemade vanilla extract, which is what I do at home, and you can take some empty pods and you just put them in a little bottle of brandy or vodka and let them sit for a few months, and you get this amazing vanilla extract. Just keep sticking them in there, and it just gets more and more vanilla-y. So we have our egg whites, our sugar, our cream of tartar. This bowl is made of metal, which is exactly what you want because you want it to conduct the heat of this pot with the simmering water. I'm basically doing a makeshift double boiler here. It's important to use a pot holder because otherwise you will burn your hand. I have done it. Notice how the bowl fits right on top of this, but the bottom of the bowl does not touch the top of the water. This is the labor-intensive part. There's no shortcut here. Gotta put your music on, gotta do a little dance, because this does take between 6 and 8 minutes. Your forearm will be dazzling. Oh, I'm such a wimp. I don't do enough upper body, obviously. Okay, so what's the point of why am I doing this? So I'm doing this, I'm going to tell you why. I'm like, why am I doing this? The reason that we do this is because what we're trying to do is melt the sugar into the egg whites, and then we'll have a liquid sugar, which is much more stable than using just regular granulated sugar when you make a meringue. I'm just going to take its temperature. So what I'm looking for is the sugar to be dissolved. I'm looking for this to be opaque, and I want it to be 175 degrees. And it is 150, 160. Okay, so we're getting there. So we're almost there. I feel like if I was taller, tall people have it easier, man. Should I stand on an apple box?
Do you want to?
I think you have to.
All right. Hey, look, I'm 6 feet tall. Oh my God, this is so much easier. Surely it's there now, right? 175, woo! All right, we're good. And now I'm going to beat this until it gets cool, but I'm gonna add my vanilla seeds to the mix. Or if you were using vanilla extract or vanilla paste is another good option, you would add it right now. Now we beat until we get meringue. We let this guy do all the work. Ha! No apple box. Shall we see if it is ready? So this is how you know it's ready. It does not slide off, and it holds a stiff peak, and it's floppy. This meringue is so fun. It's so fun. It's just all fun. I'm sorry, s'mores are fun no matter what. So this is basically homemade marshmallow fluff, and we're gonna put it right on top. You can see the speckly vanilla seeds. So I wanna spread it to the edge, so that way everybody gets a nice bit of meringue. So you want to cover the tart, and then you can have fun with the swirls. And now we get to use the torch. If you do not have a torch, you can put this under your broiler, but you just have to be really careful. It could take 2 minutes, it could take 4 or 5, depending on your broiler. I mean, if this is not a showstopper, I don't know what is. Shall we get our lovely oven s'mores too? All right, I'm going to unmold our beautiful showstopper. Always very easy with these kinds of pans. Plus this dough is so buttery that it slips right out. These are so awesome. What do I try first? What do I try first? I always start with the shortcut. Look at that. Shortbread cookie. melty dark chocolate. I love the shortbread. I love the salted chocolate too. I don't think there's a better 5-minute dessert out there. The marshmallow is melty, the chocolate is melty, the cookie is still nice and crisp, and you have the char on top of the marshmallow, which you can really taste. That is delicious. For our showstopper. Oh yeah. This is the ratio dreamed up by a hopped up 11-year-old. I mean me. A chocolate truffle on top of a cookie covered in a cloud. What could be better than this? I don't know. S'mores are just joyful. They take you back to your childhood, especially if you never left your childhood, then they meet you where you're at. No campfire required. You can find these recipes at NYT Cooking. Go find us. Do I have any other thoughts about s'mores? Setting things on fire is fun.